Hey, app-driven guy here again. I wanted to make a little video about Postmates because I know I don't give it very much attention. I do like Postmates though. I like the idea of it, and I like when you get tips. But beyond that, it's difficult because the way their business practice is set up, where it's during the well, I guess you wouldn't say off-peak times, but when it's not blitz pricing, in my market at least, in Portland, you're only looking at $4.10 for each delivery you drop off. And it gets really discouraging. Like, let's say, picking up a Wendy's order at Lloyd Center, driving it across the bridge into downtown, to drop off at a building that's hard to get to, let's say the 25-story building or 30-story building on Fifth Avenue and Burnside. And that was my order one time, was that Wendy's, that Burnside building, and $4.10, no tip. And it's just frustrating. You're bringing these people food at their office, and that seems to be a strange phenomena. I've noticed that with delivering pizza too, that when people order food when they're at work, they just don't tip. It's just this weird mental thing in their head. They're like, oh, well, I'm trying to make money right now. I'm not trying to give it away, and I think that's a really sourpuss attitude to have, because you have the convenience of not having to leave your place of business, so you don't even have to stop working, basically. You're like cheating your lunch break anyway, by eating while you're working and then not even tipping the guy who brings it. So that's kind of my problem with Postmates, is that they don't encourage tipping. It's more like, would you like to tip your driver? Doesn't really matter if you don't. They're just a faceless, person. They just drop your stuff off, and the less attention you pay to them, the less human they are, and just, if you want to tip them, you kind of can. So, and that's kind of how it is. When the customer checks out through Postmates, it's like, would you like to tip? You could tip 0 or 2, 4, 6, if you feel like it. But we want you to keep using Postmates. We don't want you to worry too much about the tip. So, and that's really sad, because otherwise drivers are making $4. You're making sub minimum wage to drive around and deliver. And, the Postmates, they suck people into the job by saying, come deliver with Postmates, 25 plus an hour. It's really great. Oh, look at this. Postmates are so happy. And you can. I've made $30 an hour. I've made $35 an hour before with Postmates. But that was super lucky. I got a $20 tip on a Taco Bell order, and a $20 tip on a Jack in the Box order, a $20 on a Sizzle Pie order. But that's 3 orders out of hundreds that I've taken, that I got tipped on. Super lucky, and I made $30+ an hour those hours. Very rare. And there's only so much you can do to increase your tips. The only real advice, and this is pretty much the standard advice for Postmates, is that when you arrive at the destination to pick up the food, you send the customer a little text saying, hey, I'm here at the place, just want to let you know, I can pick up some extra sauce for you, whatever you need, if you have any specific kinds you want me to get, and introduce yourself by name. That way it's not just like, oh, hey, Postmates, random guy. And then it gives it a little bit of a personal touch. And then I like to use the little emojis when I do it. So, like, when I pick up their food, I'll say, hey, I got your fresh food on board. And then there's like a little emoji that says, like, soon, with a little arrow going to it. And then I'll get, like, if it's a pizza order, there's like a little pizza slice emoji that you can find. And then a happy face. So it's like, soon, pizza, happy. So I'll do that. I think that customers, they just like little things like that, But then I'm also thinking, from a customer's perspective, they might be going, okay, why are you sitting here texting me instead of bringing me my food? So it's kind of a double-edged sword. I mean, it's like, do you give it that personal touch, hoping that they're human beings and that they might tip you, and realize that your income is based mostly on tips? Or are they just the type that are just like, why are you texting me? Get the hell over here. You lost your tip already because you're taking too long. So I don't know. Maybe I'm creating both those things in my head. But I do know that I'd get tipped more consistently if I do that. And then, especially right before I hit finish delivery, if you go in and send them a text saying, hey, thank you so much for ordering tonight. You know, I really appreciate it, and if you could rate me 5 stars, if you're happy, that'd be great. Thank you for using Postmates. And that's all you can do. You can't go overboard with the niceness, because then it's just like, you know, fishing for a tip, begging for a tip, you know, and that's just not cool anyway. And then, I mean, that's all you can really do. And just try not to stack orders to where, like I made another video on this, stop stacking and start making money, because if you stack orders in too early, you're just killing your next delivery. You're just going to get such a bad tip, because the people are just not happy that you're running around taking care of somebody else before you're even getting to their order. And I would be too if I was a customer. You know, I'd rather my order not be picked up by a Postmate until they're ready to go do it than picked up by a Postmate that's still going to run around and do their other order first. It's just, you know, you got to put yourself in the customer's shoes at that point. Plus, you get paid for your time at the stop. But watch my other video on that. I have more on that. But overall, the things I like about Postmates is that you can do it walking or with a bike. Bike seems to be, from what I've heard, pretty much the most profitable way to do it, because you don't have to use any gas money, and people tip you better because they realize and appreciate the effort you're putting into it riding your bike. But I do like the fact that with a car, you don't have to have a brand new car. You know, you don't have to have something made within the last 10 years like you do with Uber and Lyft. You can have, like I was doing it with my 89 Corolla and just butting around town on that. And it was nice because I didn't have, you know, car payments. But now that I do Uber and Lyft, it's more consistent money. Whereas Postmates, it was like, you know, yeah, you might be flying high and making 15, 20, 25 bucks an hour here and there, but the rest of the time you're making minimum wage and you're still having to pay for your own gas. And some Postmates do better. You know, they've been doing it for a long time. They get better tips. They have regular customers. They have, you know, the restaurants that they choose to pick up from are ones that they know the people. They know they're going to get better orders and better tips, and they know which ones to take. That seems to be a big part of it with Postmates, is selecting orders that fit your temperament, you know, that fit what you want to do. Maybe you're hungry. Sometimes I turn on Postmates because I'm just hungry and I'm nearby like a restaurant or place I want to go to, and I just kind of turn on Postmates just hoping that I'll get an order there. Like I went to go get a burger at Jack in the Box the other night, and I was like, well, you know, I'll just turn on Postmates just to see if one pops up while I'm sitting here. And sure enough, it did. And, you know, I was able to make it a double whammy. Got my burger, got their burger, went and delivered it to them, got $6 plus like a $2 tip. So, but even there, it's like I had to stack that in exactly with what I was already doing. So it was the convenience factor. You get through the drive-through fast. That's why I like fast food orders. You just, you know, you're going to get through fast. And if you don't, you get paid for it. And you're not having to sit in some lobby where it doesn't feel like you're very welcome, because the wait staff is usually not happy about Postmates people coming in for some reason. And that's a whole nother part of Postmates that I don't like. There's like their customer service department that calls in the orders. You know, it feels like they build these bad relationships with the restaurants, and you get this feeling when you walk in like they just don't want you there because they know they're not going to get tipped. Even the ones that have the automatic tip and they put the tip on there, you still get just this like snooty kind of brush off attitude from the people working inside, and it's just sad. They don't realize that the service we're doing is providing them with a paycheck because it keeps business coming into their establishment. But people are just short-sighted and they just want that tip, and that's all they really care about. So, and you know, I'm complaining about the same thing. I just want the tip with the Postmates delivery. And so that's where it all, this is how I believe Postmates could be perfect. If they were upfront and just said, look, our drivers' lives depend on a tip. The people that are making your food lives depend on a tip. So we're going to charge a mandatory 15, make it 20% tip on top of what you order. So you're going to pay your delivery fee. You're going to pay a mandatory 20% tip that's going to be split between the wait staff and your driver. So your wait staff gets 10%, driver gets 10%. You can tip more if you want, but that way the driver's always taken care of. You know, you're picking up $30 in food, you're going to get $3 on top of your cost to drop it off. The wait staff inside the restaurant gets $3, and it's just a mandatory split tip. But I feel, you know, that would just crush Postmates. They just wouldn't be able to do that because so many people would drop off because they have to tip. So anyway, that's the whole thing about Postmates that grinds me, is just the whole negative aspect of it with the tipping and everything. They need to find a way to pay people better, or it's just not going to be successful, and they're just going to have people that are not happy about it. But I hope that's just me, that, you know, that's the way I feel. I hope there is a lot of drivers out there that do Postmates that are happy about it and love their job. I haven't found too many of them. Most Postmates I run into are just like, you know, I'm doing this because it's the only thing I have to do to make money until I find something better. But please, don't let that bring you down if you're going to look into doing Postmates. It's a great step up and towards owning your own business, and, you know, you can write off gas and expenses, and it's a way to make money. It's just, there's better ways. And if I'm wrong on that, call me out and tell me, you know, I love hearing success stories. So tell me that you're making great money with Postmates if you are, and, you know, prove me wrong. And I love that, because I love the idea of Postmates being a great thing to do. And I would like to be able to turn my app on and know that I'm not going to it's not a gamble. Thanks for watching, and thanks for bearing with me. That's a longer video than I usually do, but I just kind of had a lot to say about Postmates. All right, thanks. Bye.